up, and welcome back to the Unfiltered Trainer podcast. I am your host, Gina, aka Gina Marie Fit. Y'all, it's Tuesday, and your girl is tired, and I still have a very, very busy week ahead of me. I have 3 more long days of work and a flight to catch on Saturday morning for my friend's shower, so we are jam-packed and ready to go. Today's episode is going to talk about finding joy and happiness when life doesn't pan out the way you expected. If you are anything like me, we have a plan, we execute that plan no matter what's going on in our lives. We continue to progress forward and continue to just push ourselves no matter what's going on around us. And sometimes it can be really hard because we are pushing so hard for this desired outcome or goal when, as we're going through this journey, we might not necessarily realize that that goal may not look the way we thought it would look. And sometimes happiness and finding happiness when life doesn't turn out the way it's planned can be really difficult because it takes us reimagining what fulfillment looks like and what our desired life looks like. And so despite our best efforts, what dreams we have, what goals we have, that they don't always come to fruition. And so this could be career, this could be with your health and fitness, this could be with friendships, relationships, but trying to adjust to unwanted or unexpected changes can be very overwhelming. And it can be really difficult to deal with the void, honestly, that is left when you imagine life would look one way. Then here's what your life currently looks like. Maybe it's an alternate path, a different plan, or maybe the outcome didn't bring you the happiness you thought it would. And so some things you can do as we progress through today's episode. So we're going to talk about how we can adjust to these feelings, especially when your resilience seems like it's not paying off. And then we're going to talk about ways to find happiness and improve your mental well-being to improve your health. And so if your life currently does not look the way you expected, there are some strategies that we can take and implement so that we can embrace what our life looks like now and continue to progress forward for what it's going to look like in the future. One of the best things you can do when you're going through this scenario is truly give yourself time to accept the situation you're in. It could feel like you're truly grieving something because this is the life you thought you wanted. This is the life you thought that this would be everything. Like when I have these things in place, my life is going to be the happiest it's ever been. And sometimes you either don't acquire those things or you do achieve them and your life isn't as happy as you thought it was. Usually we associate grief with the loss of a loved one. However, there's a lot of ways we can grieve different types of losses. And the reality is that when grief isn't recognized or validated, those suffering can create what is a negative domino effect. And you can see it and its ramifications in other areas of your life. And so simply the first thing we have to do when our life doesn't pan out the way we expected it or we're not as happy with the outcome is you really just need to focus on the fact that grief is necessary and we have to take the time to recognize that this is loss. And it does require grace, compassion, and kindness because you really did set yourself up for something. And the reality is it didn't pan out the way you expected. The second thing that you need to do once you've accepted that this is not going to be the way you thought it was and you grieve is that you make sure that you don't compare your life to others and that you also don't idealize other people's lives. Something about social media is that people have a funny way of making their lives look like they're perfect. They have the perfect outfit, the perfect family, the perfect home. They're going all to the out to all the local spots. You see them out and about in public, dressed to the nines. People don't like to share failure. People don't like to be honest when things don't work out the way they expected them to. So instead, they're going to share this filtered version of their life. And then you have people like myself who are intentionally being unfiltered, because that is what we need more in life, instead of these people on social media that act like their life is perfect, when in reality, behind closed doors, their lives are a mess and things are falling apart. And so you really have to make sure that you're not taking your subjective opinions and idealizing somebody else's life, because your life isn't where you thought you'd end up and you're disappointed. When we're unhappy with where we're at in life, it's very easy to assume somebody that you're comparing yourself to has it better because of what they post on social media, but they're not going to post their struggles because people have a hard time being vulnerable. And so this really does create an imbalance in your life, because you feel like you are struggling more, or you did the work and the outcome wasn't as great. And then you see somebody else being very successful, and then you start to compare yourself and you start to think that, oh, their life is perfect, they have everything. Recognize the fact that you don't have the full picture, nor do you have the full story. You won't know about their struggles, their setbacks, their feelings. Maybe they're struggling with imposter syndrome, or they're disappointed in their outcome. And what their life looks like to you is good might not necessarily be as great as what they post on social media. Number 3, simply embrace all that is good in your life. Just because we are so focused on these larger goals, these expectations, these outcomes, doesn't mean that you can't embrace all that is good along the way. That simply might just be, for me, driving to work on the days when it's raining. I live downtown. There is a light every, I feel like 100 feet. Some days a win in life is hitting the green light every single time, instead of the days when I clearly need to be patient and I hit every single red light. There are little things, like the other day I helped somebody in need, and the fact that I was so kind to them and they were shocked that I stopped to help them, that was a win for me in my day, because I was at the right place at the right time when somebody needed kindness and support. It's important to obviously give yourself permission to grieve, to ensure that you're not idealizing somebody else's life, but it's also important that we give permission to find joy along the journey in the more simplistic things. And so sometimes, like on Sunday, I had time to go to brunch with friends. I came home, I got all of my cleaning done, and I had the ability to just rest and relax and set myself up for success. That brought me so much joy because I was able to start my week off with less stress. Sometimes the wins in life and the things that are most important are simple, everyday tasks and situations that we take for granted because we're so focused on our external outcomes, the measures, the finances, the cars. We're always trying to get to where we want to go. And sometimes the most important thing is just focusing on where we're at and finding the positive small experiences and situations and just being more present and paying attention to them. Lastly, before we get into the whole piece about finding happiness and improving your mental well-being, is once you've done these things, you've done the work, you have to reimagine what a purpose-driven life looks like. Because for me, I have had to reimagine my truly most aligned life numerous times. And so when you hope for a happier, healthier life that's based off of mental well-being, we have to prepare for the unexpected challenges and changes that are going to come our way. And so when we think about this, we really have to sit down with ourselves, and you could do this quarterly or, every month if you want to, and really think about, what is a purpose-driven, fulfilled life look to me? What are those steps, those tools, the items that would create that sense of fulfillment for you? it can't necessarily just be on that larger external outcome of the job or the success, because fulfillment and purpose-driven life, to live a life that is so full of purpose, really takes you understanding, like we talked about in the last episode, who you are, what your core values are, what do you stand for, how to stand in your power. And then that's going to enable you to continue to persevere when life doesn't necessarily look the way you thought it's going to look. And so it definitely is something that kind of takes you on a roller coaster, like most things in life are. It definitely ebbs and flows, but in order to progress from your life not looking the way you thought it would, and enabling yourself to find joy in the journey so that you can be happier and healthier along the course of the path instead of at when you achieve your desired outcome, there are several things that really can aid in your mental well-being and your general sense of wellness. One of the best things you can do to decrease your stress, decrease your cortisol, is to actually improve your heart health. Happy people have lower heart rates and lower blood pressure. So it's crucial in order for your heart to be whole and happy and healthy, to find joy in the journey as along the way, you have to care about your heart health. So you have to take care of yourself from the inside out. It's not just about the physical. You can't be so focused on your abs or your six pack or your glute growth, because if your heart is not well, your body cannot be well. The second thing is you have to find ways to decrease your pain and discomfort in life. Happiness can actually affect how much pain you physically feel. And so people who tend to be positive, who have a, more positive outlook on life, actually report lower levels of discomfort and pain. Happiness obviously can't cure all of your ailments, but it definitely plays a role in how we perceive it, how we handle it, and can actually perceive, when you look at how you perceive and handle it, can actually affect how it manifests in your body. So be mindful of your thought patterns and processes, because they can elicit stress. And when stress rises, it causes a lot of disruption internally. The third thing you can do is simply lower your stress levels. Are you laughing? Because I am laughing too. Stress is something that happens to all of us. Even working out produces a rise in cortisol levels. So in order to decrease your stress, you have to decrease your cortisol levels. Now, obviously, there are positive ways that our cortisol goes up and there are negative ways. Cortisol is our stress hormone. And so when you're maintaining a happier, healthier disposition and managing your stress, that will create a decrease in your central nervous system having to heighten. It'll create a more relaxed feeling in your body. You will feel more at peace. So you can have those days when your cortisol goes up because you're working out. But if your cortisol is always high because you're dealing with stressful people, or your life isn't where you thought it'd be and you're overly fixated on that, then your cortisol level is going to rise for the wrong reasons. Another area that can help just feeling happier and healthier is by boosting your immune system. And so those of us who have been, I used to have periods of time when I was younger, I was really sick a lot in my 20s, and it's because I was so stressed out. People that have a stronger immune system and who are happier and healthier obviously get sick less. And so research has been correlating our emotions with our internal health. Obviously, gut health is directly correlated to your mental health. Everything truly does connect. It's like that kid song when you're learning about the bones and the muscles. Everything internally and externally has a way of connecting and affecting itself. And so people who are happier and healthier in the mindset aspect will handle illness better as well, and won't be so fixated on why is this happening to me, versus they will take care of themselves to get through it in an easier fashion. Another thing you can do is just truly improve your emotional resilience. Happiness is something that can create an ability for you to bounce back when life throws something at you that you weren't ready for. Those who have a stronger, more established emotional resilience will handle life's challenges better, and they won't feel as easily derailed. Those who aren't as easily derailed tend to be more successful. They tend to be higher producers. They tend to be better off because of their resilience, so that every small little insignificant thing like a red light or traffic won't send them into a tizzy. Lastly, one of the best things we can do is just simply improve your happiness and your quality of life overall. In order to do that, you have to find a deeper sense of meaning in your life. You cannot attribute your happiness to a bank account, to a physical item you buy, or a person in your life. You have to truly, as woo-woo as it sounds, appreciate the small joys, achievements, wins throughout the day like we talked about, which will create a more fulfilling existence. When you feel more fulfilled, you feel a deeper sense to continue to progress further in life. You have a better demeanor about yourself. You're easier to be around. And as a result, you will become a more productive person because of it. Okay, now that I have wooed you out the wazoo, let's talk about now we've learning to find how to be happier and healthier, finding joy in the journey. Once we have improved our abilities to let go of what doesn't serve us, to progress forward and truly persevere through the crap so we can see what's on the other side, we have to find tangible ways and in essence to find a balanced routine, focus on relaxation, setting proper boundaries, which we've talked about in previous episodes, figuring out what you determine as self-care in order to increase your happiness and your productivity in life. And so one thing that you may not like that I'm about to say, and I'm chuckling because I'm learning this myself in real time. If you are working to be happier, healthier, finding joy in the journey, and improving your mental well-being, one of the best things you can do is simply give yourself more time. So for some of us, that means we are learning to wake up earlier. And yes, I am doing this even on the days I am not opening the studio. When you start your day off on the right foot and you give yourself a little extra time to get ready, that might just be 30 minutes where you don't have to rush. It gives you time to eat a healthier breakfast, spend a few more minutes in the shower, really sit down. Maybe you want to journal, meditate. Having what simply is just an extra 30 minutes in the morning decreases that sense of like urgency and struggle, and it makes you feel like you're in control. I do notice, and I don't like admitting this, but when I work out in the morning, I am so much more alert throughout the day. My energy levels stay higher, I eat better, and then I go to sleep on time because I woke up earlier and I felt more fulfilled. I'm less likely to hit the snooze when I'm able to do that. Obviously, it's a challenge when I teach morning classes. I can't wake up any earlier. I already get up at 3:30 in the morning. But on the days that I don't go into work, that is always my plan. I don't wake up at 3:30, but I'll wake up a little bit later and I still give myself plenty of time to get things done. That way, when I leave my apartment, everything's in alignment, everything's done, so that whatever time I come home, there's nothing that needs done. And it's so fulfilling. It just gives you so much more purpose because you got some small wins. You started your day off on a positive note. You're more productive throughout the day. And then when you get home, you just get to relax. Second, it truly is going to seem simple and it might feel a little more complicated, but in order to be happier, more productive, you just have to decide that you're going to be happy. Something that's really helping me is just being grateful, focusing on gratitude for everything, for every paycheck, for every opportunity, for every nice person I meet. Just being grateful that I have a job, that I have a beautiful home to live in. I love my apartment. That I live in a city that I can walk and I feel safe, that I have food on my table, and that even though I'm tired because I'm working so many hours, because I have so many things going on, that I have choices at a time when not everybody gets choices. Simply just focusing on those small wins, that really sets the tone for everything in your life, because when you focus on gratitude, even on your difficult days, there's a lesson to be learned and you can be grateful for those lessons. Number 3, what's a game changer for me, and everybody makes fun of me, but guess what? I'm a very productive person, and no matter what I've been through, I'm still standing today. The most productive people, like myself, have a game plan. We have a set schedule. I have a planner and everybody makes fun of it, but it's color coded. Each job has a color, each activity has a color, even doing fun things has a color, because when I look at my insane schedule and I see that specific color, I know there's something to look forward to. Or like when I fly home, there's a certain color. It just enables my brain to visually see everything. And then I make a prioritization to-do list, what I've talked about on a previous episode. Every single day I have a priority list. It goes hour by hour. And then I have a to-do list for all the things that aren't in my day-to-day work that need to get done as well. And I complete those based off of priority so that I feel like I accomplish things, even if they're small things. It's just a great way to inspire and empower you to keep getting stuff done, even when you don't feel your best. But they're things that you have to do. And so even though you might not feel great, you're still getting what needs done, and it makes you feel like a more productive member of society instead of just feeling like you're like self-loathing and wasting space. Next one, something I am learning. It's okay to let people help you. And I feel like I wish there's a mirror in front of me so I could say this to myself, because the thing I have the most trouble with is allowing other people to do things because they were not going to do it at the same quality or level I do. But simple things like letting somebody clean your house. I recently have delegated my grocery shopping. I use Amazon Fresh. I actually made a reel about this. It's not a part or ad. Wish it was, because I now don't go grocery shopping. I simply do my grocery shopping from Amazon Fresh. I submit it so that it gets picked up at a certain time. And that is 2 hours that I don't have to waste. And I get everything I need. And I schedule what time it gets dropped off at so that when I time it when I get home, my groceries are at my door. I'm ready to go. And that decreases my excuse to go order food that might not be as healthy during the week. So simple tasks that can be delegated are substantially going to improve your health and happiness, because I don't need to do my grocery shopping. Like, I don't need to clean my apartment. That's the next thing. I'm going to start scheduling somebody to deep clean my apartment. I have better ways that I can serve my time to make money, and I'd rather be able to utilize my extra funds to pay other certified people to do their skills, and then you continue to promote business. Another thing you can do is truly establish boundaries with your workday. Gina, I'm talking to you. I'm a workaholic if you don't know this. Hello, my name is Gina, and I don't know how to stop working because I truly freaking love working. But you have to set boundaries when it's time to end your workday. And something I've been doing with my staff is we communicate in Slack. And I know not everybody loves Slack, but I don't want communicated, if it's not an important reason, on my personal phone for the few hours I'm not at work, which is rare. And so I've established boundaries that if it's an emergency and it's time sensitive, please call me. If not, send me a message in Slack and I will attend to it during my work days. Boundaries for me also include certain days are certain jobs. Like Monday, I see patients. Tuesday through Friday, I'm overseeing the gym. I have certain days in the evening that I do client check-ins. I work on social media. On Monday or Tuesday, I film my podcast. And so I've established boundaries and standards for when certain aspects of my days start and end. And it really does aid you in helping to stay motivated, to stay happy because you're being accomplished, but also not stress you out because they don't run into each other, because you have that set execution plan that you're going from. And when things are done and that time frame is over, you move on to the next. Lastly, something that I think is like really important before we do like a bonus tip is just simply removing yourself from what doesn't serve you. So unplugging your digital devices, making sure that you're taking lunch breaks instead of working through your lunch breaks, like not compromising on things that you know are a necessity, like sleep. You really have to set minimum boundary standards for all aspects of your life. You need to have time to eat. You need to have time to sleep. You need to have time that is unplugged off of your phone. And so in order to do this, you really do need to establish the time frames in your life of when you're going to do things, when you're not going to do things. And for some of you, maybe that means you just turn off your notifications in general. But happiness and productivity truly go hand in hand. When you're happier, you're more motivated, more inspired, more empowered, you'll get more done. When you are struggling with your health, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, or all three, it is very hard to find any semblance of joy in the journey or figure out what is causing you to not be where you thought you'd be in life. And so to kind of summarize all of this up, we all have a vision for our lives. We all have a set standard. We all thought our life would look one way. I am here to tell you that I did everything right. I did everything to the best of my ability. And guess what? The life I thought I'd have from 20 and I got to 25 was what I thought was perfect. It wasn't. It was actually just a freaking complete polar opposite. From 25 to 30, I rebuilt my life, established who I was, and could stand strong in my power, knowing who I was and what I stood for as a person. From 30 to 35, this is where I've truly established my core belief system. I have expanded my participation in a lot of activities, services. I'm really utilizing my diverse skill set now and multitudes, like in so many aspects and areas that I didn't previously pursue before. And my life will look different from 35 to 40. It's not going to be what you expect. And the faster you accept that, recognize that, and embrace it, the happier you will be. And instead of focusing on the end game, we focus on the seasons and phases of life we are in. We embrace them for all that they are. We accept them for all that they are not. And realize that sometimes, which is most of the time, nothing in our life is in our control. All we can control is our day-to-day life of what we do, who we are, and simply how we show up for ourselves and for everybody else around us. This life, if done right, will never look the way you thought it would look. Because when I say if it's done right, it's going to change because we should be evolving. Our life should look different because we are different. We are growing. We are changing. And that is a beautiful thing. So as woo-woo as it sounds, finding joy in the journey comes down to truly learning how to handle when life does not look the way we thought it would, when the outcome is not as great as we had anticipated or worked for or hoped for, and finding some semblance of sanity to know that even though this may not be the way we thought the outcome would turn out, it's continuous down the path to continue to get to where we are meant to go, because we are continuing to show up to the best of our ability day in and day out, no matter what's handed to us, so that we can one day get to what's meant for us. All right, y'all. As always, don't forget, if you have not yet, leave me a 5-star review. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm working on the video episodes, getting everything edited and prepared. Gonna launch those very soon. I've been talking about that for a while. It's just way more complicated than I thought. I've also found a podcast studio I can go to, which I feel like is going to be a great investment for the special episodes, especially when there's multiple people. So I'm personally just going to continue to pursue the current phase of life I'm in. My current life does not look anything like I thought it would by this phase of this year. And as roller coaster, stressful, as frustrating as that is some days, I too am just focusing on being happier, healthier, mind, body, and soul, day in and day out, and being able to give myself grace on the days when I am struggling and having setbacks, because part of life is feeling like a failure, and part of life also is learning from that failure. All right, y'all, stay tuned, and we will chat soon.